with lows of 75 to 78 or 80 degrees, just like we're experiencing now. But how long did it last and how frequently did it go on?
I'm just harassed.
I know you are. I just want to nip that one in the butt right there. I don't know what to say. So 12 known Arthur Ginther postcards from May to August of 1899. And what is happening here, what's going on is that Arthur Ginther is writing to his wife and his two sons, teenage sons, who are in Wiesbaden, Germany, studying in German schools because they can afford to send their kids off to get a great German education. And they're sending them off. And what's wonderful, the father is writing almost daily. And he's writing both in English and in German. Some cards are in English, some cards are in German, and some cards are mixed between the two. So they'll go off in German and then say, by the way, we're all well. But these cards show amazing scenes, in some cases never before scenes of San Antonio, and includes one of the Wagner cards, or Wagner cards, excuse me, multi-views, that great chromolithography, May 22nd, 1899. My dear son, this is to his son Hilmar, Gustav Ginther, and my dear Hilmar, complying with your request of the 5th instant, meaning the 5th of this month, I now mail to you a postal card for your collection. And that tells me that in Germany, the collectors are really in full force. He says this in a couple of cards. By the way, I told Paul Rose, who has already several of your cards, to write to you, which he promised to do at an early date. With best wishes, your father, Arthur Ginther. And he says this many times, and what I'm looking for now from the family are the cards going the other way, the letters going the other way, because the father says, complying with your request for your collections. So I would love to find correspondence coming from Germany to America saying, Dad, please send me some cards. They're all the rage here. Everyone has an album but me. You've got to send me some cards. You know he's not going to be that overt, but I would like to find at least a line. There we go. In the AlamoCity.com collection, which has some of these cards, some of the views have never before been seen, such as what is misnamed here, the New Post Office Saloon. It's really the New Post Office Exchange Saloon. John Bossart, proprietor, showing an interior view of the saloon. High Victorian with extremely high ceilings, and it is said in the city directories that this stood at the corner across from the post office at Houston and Alamo Streets at the plaza. The question I have is, because of the extremely high ceilings, did that mean the old Maverick building, because of its very high arcade here, or did it mean this very low structure across the street? Nonetheless, by about 1910, both of these buildings had disappeared. Where the Maverick building was located, the Woolworth building went in, the Gibbs building, built about 1907, took the place of the low structure. And then this view, the Monkey Hotel Bar, William Booth, proprietor. My dear boy, I do not think that you have ever seen this place, but the card will be all right for your collection. Your wishes, best wishes, your father, Arthur Ginther. The Monkey was in fact the Vance House, which had been located, let's see, here's the Monkey Bar. And nobody had ever seen a view of this before, as far as I'm aware. Here's the Monkey House, also known as the Vance House. It was just a Civil War era structure, maybe 1850s, I believe, actually. And today, what sits on the side of that was demolished in 1907 for the building of the Gunter. So the Gunter House, or the Gunter Hotel is there. Well, 1902 begins the Golden Age. I mean, even before she passed, Queen Victoria had a royal friend, Sue, build a tremendous European postcard collection for her. But it hit the world, and the German lithographers, oh, here we go, dates, more dates. December 1901, the private mailing card era ends, and postcard era, where you just put postcard on the backs or the fronts, whatever you want to call that side, of the cards. And then 1907, divided back cards. What a great idea. 1909, the Payne-Aldrich Act, and I'll talk about that in a bit. World War I, 1914, and then finally by 1918, most of the German imports to this country are stopped because the infrastructure is gone because of the war. Not as gone as it was after World War II, but a great variety of mostly German printed, beautiful topical cards, greeting cards. That's Happy Hooligan, who was a popular comic strip character and seen on everything you can imagine. This beautiful card showing the Alamo, a commemoration done about 1913, was not actually printed in Germany. It was printed in St. Louis, where they had good publishing houses. And this German print is beautiful, gorgeous, especially the gentleman, especially the Germans and the Germans, enjoying the view of the mountaintops. Great objectifications. And lovely romance cards. Most of these, but not all, printed in Germany. And they would go into albums. Another album in the Eileen B. Carter family collection, showing a variety of things from all over the world. All over the world it is. Standard size of a postcard after the private mailing card era was 3.5 by 5.5, which remained until about the 1960s. And I'm imagining and viewing from the Minger Hotel across to the Maverick across Alamo Plaza that the souvenir stands throughout would have a great assortment of postcards, much like this one in New Orleans called the world's smallest news and postcard stand, where you're just covered in postcards. Postcards of all varieties. I saw a lot, but none like you was a popular sentiment. And then on Alamo Plaza, in the Eileen Carter collection, family collection, is this postcard wrapper that they would put the postcards into. Texas's biggest postal card dealers, wholesale and retail, over 10,000 different postal cards, start a postal card collection. Albums. Collectors of souvenir postal albums can find albums and wish to preserve them at Moose, 514 East Houston Street. And that's as early as 1901, which is very early in the collecting field. The albums we talked about before were colorful but inexpensive and had what are now rather acidic pages holding the cards. Seldom do the card albums survive in as pristine a condition as you can see this one of Galveston. But a critic at the time about the craze talked about the postcard albums as an infecting plague and said that these monstrosities are often bestowed on the center table in the parlor, and about the only thing that can be said in their defense is that they crowd off the plush thesaurus of family celebrities. Beautifully printed postcard that was just showing pansies, chromolithographed in Germany. Beautiful colors. Remember, every color or even the metallic ink you see is a separate block if you're using chromolithography in stone blocks. From San Antonio, maybe a collotype with glass plates instead of blocks. More easy to handle, but still a very difficult process. And the colors you see require separate pressings.
That's the library at the bottom.
So it is. Carnegie Library. What became of that institution?
It was destroyed and replaced by the Hertzberg at the same location.
Really? Okay. Or more flowers, the bells, generally in honor of the Battle of the Flowers, the fiesta. What's that? Oh, sorry. Pretty girls everywhere, but San Antonio bells are the claimed most fair. Flowers everywhere. Generally, the Battle of the Flowers during the fiesta produced a great number of beautiful cards, but some of them had very distinctive coloration, some of them more successful than others. Raphael Tuck and Sons of London chromolithographed their cards in Germany and produced some of the most stunning views where they tried to make everything look more fashionable by cutting and pasting people into the pictures wearing more fashionable outfits. This view of Commerce Street by Raphael Tuck and Sons also had a companion card produced in black and white where you can clearly see the swells who are cut out to join the people who were already in the picture, who in some cases are looking at the camera, but the people walking across the street are not, which is a little odd because the camera on a tripod would attract some attention in the middle of the street. So you see here, yes, it's being cut out. It's cut out and walking along, and cut out and walking along. So it's a photo collage that was quite frequent, especially when you're trying to simulate atmospheric effects or cut out telephone wires and things like that. These are some of the most beautiful color-typed, multicolored views of San Antonio from the period. Fort Sam Houston. And I'm going to show you in just a moment. Oh, this is one of my favorites, because look at that sunset. You know, look at the atmospheric effects. I was admiring something the other night. I thought, yes, those are Texas clouds. But notice, if you will, you can see a little dimpled background work in the sky. And you see it here. What you actually see here is that they collotyped, lithographed the background, but used a much less expensive and less difficult offset press color halftone image with the dots. It's more of a photomechanical process where they printed the buildings, but printing the atmospheric effects in a different lithograph form. What they're trying to do is get the color impression down without it costing an arm and a leg or taking too much time. Here's another image of that.
That's looking south, not west. That group is
In addition to other.
that's been a heck of a sunset. I haven't reflected that far over.
Thank you. You're educating me. I'm pleased. Thank you. Yeah, so bird's eye, these are beautiful collotypes. You know, I love the atmospheric effects in these. Collotypes printed by the Adolph Seligate Company.